This is one of those сказки or tales that are known under a variety of names. Some would call it Baba Yaga and Zamorýshek. Others call it Baba Yaga and the 41 Eggs. There was this old couple. They were childless. They had longed for a son for many, many years, but were well past that age. Still, they thought about what it would be like to have a son. Well, the old man was wandering in the forest one day when he met another man who seemed impossibly older. He seemed wise. He said, "I know what you're thinking about. You wish to have children. Do as I say. Go to each hut in the village. Collect an egg from each one. Then find a brood hen. Just sit on the eggs, and you will have children." The old man thought this was foolish, but he was desperate when he saw the sorrow in his wife's eyes, and he did as he was told. And he went to each of the 41 chate or huts in the village, collected an egg from each one, and then he got a brood hen. And he gathered the eggs together and placed the brood hen on the eggs. And he tried not to think about it, lest he have too much hope. But 2 weeks later, he and the old woman, they saw that from the eggs had emerged 41 young men. They grew swiftly. They grew strong. They were as mighty as heroes. And soon they were helping do chores around the farm. That is all but one. 40 were strong and mighty. The last one was weak, and they named him Zamorýshek. Well, the 40 went to work in the fields, and in a week they'd filled 40 hayricks. And the old man went to the fields, and he was pleased. And he was bursting with pride and told the old woman of what the boys had done, the young men. And the next day, the old man went to admire his wealth, but one of the ricks was missing. And he went home and he complained bitterly. And Zamorýshek, who had not gone out to the fields to help, said, "I can take care of this, father. Give me 100 hryvnia, and I will go to the smith, and I will solve this problem." Reluctantly, the old man handed over 100 hryvnia, and Zamorýshek went to the smith, and he said, "I want you to make a chain that is so strong that if you can do this, if I can't break it, then you will receive these 100 hryvnia. Of course, if the chain breaks, your labor is lost." It took the smith 3 tries, but finally on the 3rd try, as is customary, the 3rd try, the chain which was wrapped around Zamorýszek's body failed to break, and Zamorýszek gladly paid the 100 hryvnia. And then he went out to the hayricks at night, and he waited. And a sea hag emerged from the sea and came over and started to eat one of the hayricks. And Zamorýszek wrapped a chain around the sea hag and leaped aboard her. And the sea hag begged for her freedom. let me go, and I will reward you finally. Well, Zamorýshek followed his heart and let the sea hag go. And from the sea emerged 41 horses, and they were the finest that any man had ever seen. And he took the horses, and he went home, and the old man and the old woman got up from their beds and wondered, what was this noise? Well, there were these 41 fine steeds. And the old man was pleased, said, now it is time my sons should go find brides. And the old woman gave her blessing, and the 41 sons mounted the steeds and rode off in search of 41 brides. And they traveled far and wide, and they even crossed the sea. They could not settle on just marrying one bride here, one bride there. They did not wish to separate the family. They must find someone who had 41 daughters. And so at last they came to this white palace. And they tied their horses up, and they demanded entry. And Baba Yaga came out and said, Who are you? What do you want? That does not matter yet. We are guests. You should feed us and give us drink. You should then take us to the baths, and then we will answer all of your questions. Custom dictated that she do so, and Baba Yaga led the 41 young men off, although she muttered and snarled over their insolence, and she gave them food and gave them drink. They drank lots of green wine and dined upon swan. And she took them to the bathhouse, and in the steamy hot bathhouse they relaxed, they felt cleansed and refreshed. Now, old woman, ask your questions. What are you doing? Are you seeking to do deeds, or are you fleeing them? We are in search of brides. We need 41 of them. Really? And Baba Yaga went into other rooms and brought down 41 daughters. And they were betrothed. The wedding took place. And now the 41 boys, 41 men, went to bed with their brides. But Zamorýshek could not sleep and went outside. And he wished to tend to his horse. Perhaps that would relax him. And his horse spoke with a human voice. It said, "You are in danger. You are all in danger. What you must do, tell your brothers, you must all dress as their brides." And the horse was urgent about this. Zamorýshek was confused, but went ahead. And he spoke to his brothers individually, spoke to them quietly, said, "We are in great danger. Quickly, don your wife's clothing." Well, later that night, Baba Yaga had discreetly summoned her servants and said, "I want you to deal with these insolent guests of mine. Go now, cut off their heads." Well, the servants went to each of the 41 beds, and they cut off a head. And now Zamorýshek quickly roused his brothers when the servants had left, said, "We must flee. Take the heads." And so the brothers took the heads and impaled them around or on the 41 stakes which surrounded Baba Yaga's palace. And they fled. Zamorýshek also stole Baba Yaga's handkerchief, for he sensed that it was magical. Baba Yaga woke from her sleep, saw the heads of her daughters on the stakes surrounding her palace, and she grew enraged, and she grabbed her shield, which burst into flame, burned everything before it, and she went after the 41 men. And when they came to the sea, Zamorýshek took the handkerchief in his right hand and he waved it, and a bridge formed, and he and his 41 brothers got to safety. And after he crossed the bridge, he took the handkerchief in his left hand and waved it, and the bridge disappeared, and Baba Yaga was unable to follow them. And the 41 boys, 41 men, went home to the old man and the old woman. It was at the feast I heard this tale, there it was I drank mead ale. Though it flowed down my beard, my mouth stayed dry, for never a drop passed my lips, swear I.